Okay, so I am Debbie George, one of your Dharma leaders, and I'm so happy to be here with you all tonight to see so many of your faces and names. So this evening, the talk is on the teaching of the 8 worldly winds. This teaching is meant to give you a way to manage the inevitable ups and downs of life and to learn to live more in the middle. So you'll recall that the Buddha said that he taught one thing and one thing only. And so here are some of the volumes of the Nikaya missing one and the commentaries and discourses. So one teaching. Did you see that pile? So the key is that first of all, he taught suffering. If you're more comfortable with the word stress, you can use like pervasive stress whenever you hear suffering. So I want to say that. But he's trying to help us wake up to the different ways that we suffer, the ways we unconsciously create stress. So these habits are so deeply embedded in us. He taught the same lesson in many different ways because he said people learn in different ways. And he gave us many angles on the same teaching to help us see what's difficult to see. So this Buddhist teaching, the 8 worldly winds, brings to light how we crave what makes us feel good in the world, and we rebel against what gives us grief because we don't see things clearly. We're always left unsatisfied. We keep barking up the wrong tree. It's like the song by Johnny Lee, looking for love in all the wrong places. It's because of delusion that we keep trying and keep suffering. It's endless craving and therefore endless suffering. Craving and suffering, craving and suffering. It's called the wheel of samsara. This teaching helps us recognize how we get caught up so we can start to avoid some of the pitfalls. So learning to see more clearly, to see things as they are, we will suffer less. As our awareness grows, our delusion shrinks, and we learn where true happiness is found. So the 8 worldly winds are 4 pairs of concerns that shift like the wind. They keep us striving for what is ultimately unsatisfying. These 8 worldly winds are sometimes referred to as the 8 worldly concerns, the 8 worldly conditions, the 8 worldly dharmas, the 8 worldly vicissitudes. So let's look at these 4 pairs and we'll break them down. So it's gain, and remember this will be, this is recorded, it'll be on YouTube, so if you want to take notes some other time, or now. But it's gain and loss, status and disgrace, praise and blame, pleasure and pain. We end up exhausted, busy reaching for the good ones and pushing away the bad ones. We want gain, we want status, we love praise, and we always want pleasure. Well, of course we don't want loss, disgrace, blame, and pain. And any day of the week, we'll all take gain, status, praise, and pleasure. Duh. So what's the problem? And of course, we all want to avoid perceived danger, and we all want to be happy. So this is why we keep in mind that none of the 8 concerns are inherently a problem. The 4 pairs of concerns become a problem when we strive to attain one and we reject the other as a reliable path to happiness. Everything is constantly in flux, always changing. Awareness is the remedy to help us bring more ease to both our striving and our rejecting of what we don't want. So let's unpack them. So gain and loss. We'll start with gain. We continually hunger for more or better. We love it when our investments go up, our candidates win, we get what we want to eat, we get to be with whom we want to be with. We shop and find just the right thing we're looking for. That feeling of successful gain is intoxicating. Retail therapy, our team winning, that feeling, our gamble paying off, sitting down with a piece of chocolate. Yes, we're happy temporarily until our thoughts shift to what we want or must have next. On the other side is loss. We fear losing what we have. We worry about loved ones. We fear separation from things and people we cherish. We fear our own death and loved ones. Sometimes to avoid loss, we limit our life experiences. I'm not going to get a dog, it's just going to die. I won't use that teapot because it could break. Or I won't give that away, I might miss it. Losing a loved one is too difficult to prescribe. But while they are here, we can try to remember it's temporary and savor precious moments. Loss is extremely painful, and of course we fear it, and we have this undercurrent of avoiding it because we're sensitive. Remember, gain and loss concerns are not a problem inherently. On the gain side, retail therapy, financial success, enjoying chocolate are fine when we're aware this is temporary. It's not lasting. It changes. Savor while recalling impermanence as the nature of all phenomenon. Learning to let go is the key. So we try to enjoy the good stuff in the moment with awareness. And loss, we see it as a natural fear and remember to reflect. I'm of the nature to age, to get sick and die, and be separated from what I love. Impermanence is how it is. And life includes suffering, stress, and disappointment. It just does. We can learn to experience life's pain when it occurs without adding a story and avoiding living fully to prevent life's inevitable sorrows. We must bring kindness to our awareness practice. The Buddha taught the second noble truth of the cause of suffering as craving for what we want or don't want, right? So the reaching for or the pushing away keeps us busy in unsatisfactoriness or suffering, because inherent in life includes suffering. The first truth. It's part and parcel of regular life. Things aren't always going to go our way. But luckily, there is the third truth, the truth of the end of suffering by letting go. And the fourth is the training program, the noble path. But when we're untrained and we haven't learned to let go, we suffer. Kindness enters stage left. So let's look at the next pair, status and disgrace. Status is the desire to be seen as special, regarded with respect, recognized and validated, whether on a small scale or outright fame. Everyone has special abilities, a unique quality, and how satisfying it is to be recognized in our specialness. This is lovely to give and receive, to savor and let go. Now, disgrace is tricky because as humans, we will make mistakes, and we do make mistakes. We say things and do things that later we wish we hadn't. We fear being judged. We want to avoid disgrace at all costs. But stuff happens. Last week, I was checking out at Food Lion, helping to bag up my groceries as a line formed behind me, and I discovered I had no means to pay. So I was so surprised. My face turned red. I was completely flustered, and old feelings of humiliation, maybe from when I was on food stamps in college, when I was always one step ahead of the sheriff. It all rushed in. A person's circumstances change in this precarious life, but our culture judges poverty as an inherent flaw, not the outcome of a whole array of possible scenarios. I simply left my groceries and returned in 20 minutes. But I thought about people for whom this is a common humiliation. It's funny because I went to Food Lion today for the first time since then, and kind of like those feelings when I was checking out kind of were right there again a little bit till I found my card. So status and disgrace are how we perceive others seeing us. We let our happiness be dictated by others. This post by Michelle Obama I thought was a good contemplation. She said, there will always be someone who can't see your worth. Don't let that person be you. Again, inherently, status isn't bad, just like gain and praise and pleasure. They make life enjoyable, and can be a force for good in life. It's only tricky when we believe it's who we are. And it's permanent, not subject to change. We get in trouble when our happiness is riding on expectations of how things need to be. Praise and blame, they come and go, this next two. They're dictated by others and, of course, subject to changing like the wind. Praise can be intoxicating, leaving us hungry for more. Blame hurts. If we can learn to hold both lightly, we'll definitely suffer less. Here's a couple of stories to illustrate these two. Praise. Years ago in 2006 or 2007, I witnessed a skilled teacher handle praise beautifully, and I've tried to use his method ever since. I was at Kripalu Center for a 5-day advanced yoga training. At the closing of the training, we all shared reflections on our time together. Someone gushed to the instructor how skilled and wonderful his teaching had been, and everyone vocally chimed in and agreed. The instructor replied instantly. He said, "The Buddha in me is sitting tall and glowing, smiling and happy, and the buffoon is shrunk down in the back with his head down." He then chuckled, and we along with him, we all felt the truth of that in ourselves, Seeing him acknowledge the buffoon, his shortcomings, his capacity to be a fool, as he was receiving praise, it kind of shocked me and opened my eyes. He was able to savor the lovely praise without forgetting its sidekick, the buffoon, the blame. Over the years, when I'm complimented, I try to remember my shortcomings in the same moment. I try. My blame stories from my meditation teacher, Tara Nia, who says she just agrees to accept blame, even if she's certain she didn't do it. She said defending isn't worth the energy, and many times she's been wrong. So maybe this is just another one. So she just says, yep, and she accepts it. Now, wow, I'm not there yet, but it's an aspiration. Joseph Goldstein tells of his experience after one of his first books, One Dharma, came out, and the roller coaster ride of elation and disappointment he felt reading the positive and the negative reviews it received. He said, I could feel my heart and mind glowing or dimming, depending on the comments. Fortunately, before too long, Dharma practice came to the rescue. And some words of the Buddha, the Dhammapada. As a solid mass of rock is not moved by the wind, so a sage is not moved by praise and blame. With praise and blame in all the pairs, when we see them as changeable and hold them lightly, when we are blamed or praised, we can learn to kindly laugh at ourselves. As Larry Rosenberg once said, the mind is shameless, and so much of what it serves up is rather comical. So the last two are pleasure and pain. These two can kind of encompass all the pairs as we begin to see how we grasp for what can give us good feelings and reject what gives us bad feelings. In every instance, our thoughts and reaching for sense pleasures, we crave the hit we get by positive reactions, and we all avoid perceived threats, all mental and physical pain. Once again, pleasure is great and wonderful, and pain is difficult and challenging. Our short-term strategy to go for one and run from the other is completely reasonable. But both are part of life, and we often miss the temporary nature of all things. So how do we ride the waves? Pema Chodron, in her book, When Things Fall Apart, she talks about building a sandcastle to describe what we do and how we can shift our approach. She describes how we build it with such care, we decorate it, we defend it from outside invaders, how we take such pride and delight in it. But meanwhile, we know the tide will eventually come and take it away. This is the lesson. Experience the good and the bad with a lighter touch, knowing that it's destined to disappear. I know it sounds easy, and I also know that it's not. The teaching of the 8 worldly winds is about seeing clearly. Practice is about waking up to the 3 truths: impermanence, suffering or unsatisfactoriness, and not making personal all that occurs. A key is equanimity, finding balance and a non-judgmental attitude when we fall into our familiar habits, as well as keeping a daily practice to sit with ourselves, befriending ourselves with a kind and forgiving response to our thoughts. These will foster more and more wisdom and less delusion, less suffering, as we learn to live more in the middle. Jack Kornfield said, part of the art of quieting yourself is also to honor the tears that you carry. So the Buddhist sutta the sutta is called the Lokavipadhi Sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya. And here's an excerpt from the Buddha. The Blessed One said, gain arises for an uninstructed run-of-the-mill person. He does not reflect. Gain has arisen for me. It is inconstant, stressful, and subject to change. He does not discern it as it actually is. The same goes for loss. It arises. Status arises. Disgrace, praise, blame, pleasure, pain. He welcomes the arisen gain and rebels against the arisen loss. He is thus engaged in welcoming and rebelling. He is not released from birth, aging, or death, from sorrows, lamentations, pains, distress, or despair. He is not released, I tell you, from suffering and stress. Now, gain arises for a well-instructed disciple of the noble ones. He reflects, gain has arisen for me. It is inconstant, stressful, and subject to change. He discerns it as it actually is. He discerns it in loss, status arises, disgrace, praise arises, blame, pleasure arises, pain arises. So I'll end with the words of Pema Chodron. So she said, so we start by simply looking into our own hearts and minds. Probably we start looking because we feel inadequate or in pain or want to clean up our act. But gradually our practice evolves. We start understanding that just like us, other people also keep getting hooked. Everywhere we go, we see the misery that comes from buying into the 8 worldly dharmas. It's also pretty obvious that people need help and that there's no way to benefit anybody unless we start with ourselves. So please love, honor, and respect your inner Buddha and your inner buffoon. And don't forget the best medicine of all. Be kind and chuckle at yourself. Thank you so much for your attention. And we will open the chat box. And I think everybody knows how to do this now. And so let me get the announcements so that maybe we can do this while we're waiting. So these are the August announcements so far. Tonight will be the last time that we announce that the community service event for this Saturday, of course it'll be the last time because it's a Saturday, it's been canceled, the second harvest, for reasons other than the pandemic. It's not that. They were painting the floor. Wednesday, September 2nd, Denise Owens, one of our Dharma leaders in training, will be our leader. So we want to show up and support our Dharma leader in training, Denise Owens, who's also the chair of our board of IMCC. The fall 2020 book discussions on Zoom beginning Thursday, September 3rd, led by Joy. Her contact information's on the website. It's Deep Hope by Diane Rossetto. And she's also offering a second book this fall they're both on Zoom, a new book by Sharon Salzberg called Real Change. That one begins on October 7th and will meet the first Wednesday of each month through December. This is all on the website and I believe they are both full. Is the second one full, Joy? Can you raise your hand or say yes or no? It is full. They're both full, but there's a waiting list. So please contact Joy from the website and get on that waiting list. Things change for people. Remember, everything changes. So thank you. Beginning Tuesday, October 6th, and Ward is offering, our Dharma Leader Ward is offering 4-week Zoom class on the basics of insight meditation. So whether you have been practicing for a while and want a refresher, or you just want to review, or you're new, any of those would be appropriate. So you can contact Ward. The information's on the website also. Please check our website for any other upcoming events and changes to events. And we also have the ongoing announcement of Dana. If you'd like to support us, again, the website will give you ways that you can do that if you want to support us financially. I think that's all, unless somebody chats in that they have one. Okay, so I'm going to open up the chat. Okay, thank you. I'm remembering my inner buffoon while I get some of these compliments. Thank yous. Thank you all. Let's see. Oh, I have to go all the way up. Okay. Let's see if there's a question. I'm glad that this was helpful to some of you, many of you. Thank you for telling me that. That's always helpful. Repeat. Can I please repeat the 3 characteristics? Yes. So it's impermanence, suffering, and not taking everything personally in life. It's a very deep teaching called non-self or anatta. And it's one of the 3 characteristics. It's one of the ways that we suffer. It's one of the ways that we cling. So we cling to an idea of who we are. So that's the 3rd one. Impermanent, suffering, and non-self. Let's see. Thank you all for your appreciation. Apparently there's a blinking light. I think that it might be, it's the recording, and I don't know if there's anything we can do about that. Maybe this person, maybe you could put a piece of tape over that spot in the future. I don't know. I'm very sorry to hear that. It really hurts you. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's see if we have a question here. I love the 8 worldly winds, such a liberating perspective on what arises. It's easy to think as a result of this teaching that what arises is not connected to what we do, and therefore to not really care about things like feedback. What would you say in response to this somewhat nihilistic conclusion? Let me see if I got that question. Easy to think as a result of this teaching that what arises is not connected to what we do, and therefore to not really care about things like feedback. I'm not real clear about that, Samuel. So things change. You know, we do and we are in the world in a certain way, and we're recognized for it, and we just don't want to think that that is the way, that is the permanent route to happiness, because we got to remember it's always changing. Things happen. You know, we had I knew somebody who was a surgeon who had a stroke and did surgery one day, and the next day they were in rehab. You know, so I don't know. Maybe you could, if that doesn't help, you could write to me again. Mark, thank you all. Let's see. If you would like to support the Sangha, imccharlotte.org/donate. Okay, I guess that's it for the Q&A part. And we've given the announcements. So I guess what we have left to do is the juicy stuff, loving kindness. It's all juicy stuff though, I think. So everybody, let's please just go ahead and as your first act of kindness toward yourself, please shift and see if you can become a little bit more comfortable. Even a little bit. And just let your eyes lightly close gently. And just kind of do just a short, quick scan through your body, softening obvious places of tension, remembering that when we fill our own well with these wishes of well-being, we then can overflow and share it with others. So we begin with ourselves. May I feel protected and safe right here and right now. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be healthy and strong in my body and mind. May I be free from suffering, from falling into pitfalls of short-term happiness. May I be free and at ease in this life as it is. And bringing to mind now a person or being, could be animal or person, that you want to hold in your heart, hold in these wishes. May you feel protected and safe in this moment now. May you be peaceful and truly at ease. May you experience optimal health in body and mind. May you be free from suffering. May you avoid pitfalls of short-term happiness, so enticing in the world. May you be at ease in your life as it is now. and opening our hearts to the whole Sangha, everyone participating this evening, who's ever been with us, and opening to our city, our region, our whole country, and the whole world experiencing health challenge, experiencing uncertainty, which is always true, maybe a little more heightened right now. Holding all beings in our heart. May all beings feel protected and safe here and now. May all everywhere be at ease and peaceful, truly at ease, no matter what they've been given. May all beings be healthy and strong in body and mind. May all everywhere be free from suffering, from pitfalls leading to more suffering. May all beings be happy. And may any fruits, any benefits of our practice and our study this evening, may it benefit all beings. Be well, everybody. Please take good care of yourselves, and we will see you soon.